So I am super excited to be here. It's been a while since I've gotten back to teaching. I used to teach when I was back in Singapore, and then I've taken a hiatus from teaching for about 13 or 14 years while I've been busy with user experience design at Sapient. So super excited to be here. I just kind of want to set the tone for this session. So a couple of things you guys have to promise me. The first one being that you will make it fun. This will be as interactive as you can, as you want it to be. If at any point in time in my presentation, if you have a burning question, raise your hand, or if you disagree with anything I say, go right ahead and let me know. You guys are probably more of an expert in the ad world than I am. And I say that because I've been doing this for 13 and a half years. But my roots of my background was not in advertising. I am at Sapient, and I have been there for 4.5 years. But I think what's really interesting about the user experience design practice and domain is how it has grown in the past, I'd say, 10 to 15 years. I started out as a user experience expert at Bell Labs back in, when was that? Maybe 1998. And then, since then, have been able to parlay those skills in different areas. So if there's anything that I'm taking away from this, it's the fact that user experience skills are here to stay. But I think what's interesting about the domain is folks like you will give it a new spin. So the domain is not going to remain stagnant. In interactive projects and marketing projects, we're looking at you guys to be able to bring the domain forward. So I'm here to learn from you as much as maybe you're learning from me. All right, so with that said, I just want to kick things off. So as you can see, a lot of thought went into the decision of what photo should go in the opening page. And I know that for a lot of you, this is probably going to be your introduction to user experience design. So I wanted to start slow. So when I think about experience, the first thing for me that comes to mind is a vacation experience. There's so many elements of that experience that I go back to when I'm back home, when I'm in the depths of work and I'm wishing for that 5 minutes on the beach. But there are certain things about an experience that for me I associate with a vacation. It's making memories, it's having positive associations. It's about the people that you met when you were on that fantastic location. They were waiting on you hand and foot. So there is no one definition of experience. I think each of you are more than capable to define it. But that's just my long story of why I picked that image. So I think, I think a good place for us to start is to go for the experiences that you're familiar with and think about why they were meaningful to you. So just to jog your memory a little bit, I have a couple of images that I think will intrigue and maybe set your imagination going. I wasn't around when the Beatles were performing, but till this day, my parents talked to me about how insane the experience was when folks went to watch the Beatles. So there's something about that screaming and that yelling, but there's something about that experience of being there in the audience that was very transformative for them. And to this day, they still talk about it. Swimming with the dolphins, that's a fun thing. Lots of people do it for the summer vacation. But there's something about that experience of being up close with the dolphin, interacting with it, maybe taking photos with it, having that videotaped. But there's something about that experience that you constantly go back to. You might even know a little bit about the dolphin and what the origin of that dolphin is. But think about that, right? So if you're at a dolphin research center, if you have to build an experience for a visitor, those are the things that you go back to. There's no, I think the possibilities are endless, but I always find that when you go back to what resonates with you, that is often a very good place to start, okay? Or maybe a childhood memory of, playing when you were 5 and you had no worries, and that's something about that experience that you go back to. So memory is another thing that you associate with experience. Now let's take it a step further in today's world. So when you talk about experiences, a lot of times they are tied to a particular quality, or maybe there's an element of style. And the simplicity about Muji is, you go into the store, you're getting something of good quality, of a decent price, but the shopping experience is very simple. The bowls are all white, right? There's not too much choice that you have to make, but that's what makes their experience very different from, say, if you went to IKEA. Okay? I'm not going to make any judgments about quality at IKEA, but I know that when you walk into Muji, you have a different expectation. Same thing for when you go to a W hotel. When I stay on business, I like to stay at a W hotel because I know what the sheets are going to be like, I know what the mood lighting is going to be like, but there's, notice that in my conversation about experience, I don't limit myself to what's on an interface, I don't limit myself to what's on a website. At the end of the day, it's what emotion that kind of creates in you when you think about that, okay? So that's a takeaway. Your experience has nothing to do with the channel. It's about how you feel. Ladies in the audience who love Sephora, I'm sure you guys have heard about Sephora's iPad as well as iPhone app that just launched. I downloaded it right away. But there's something about the cosmetics purchase process that is very much try before you buy. And it becomes very challenging when you try to recreate that experience online, because how do you tell someone about the way a cream smells? How do you convey that tactile experience? When you think about what the digital channel can do for you, it seems like that's a little far away, but not necessarily. Think about the photography that you can take that will help to communicate the texture of the cream. Think about the user comments that you can include, in a review of a product. Think about potentially a color wheel where you can, help people match colors, because every screen monitor is different. So how about letting someone walk into a Sephora, key in a code number of a CoverGirl lipstick and have that actually, kind of reproduce what are some of the things that are in the color family. The possibilities are endless. Okay, so, but that's another example of how do you recreate a physical experience, potentially in an online world, and in some cases, the two worlds coexist. So I'm not saying that, when you're dealing with cosmetics, the goal is to get people to buy online. No, sometimes both channels coexist. So you might come online to replenish, you might go to the store if you're trying a brand new product. Okay, so these are just some ways for you to think about experience design. And let's take it even one step further. So who has heard about the IKEA mobile app or smartphone app? Anyone here in this room? Has anyone heard of it? So I believe it's the Swedish version. Don't quote me on this, not the American version, but the European version of it lets you hold up your mobile phone, and it lets you superimpose a product that's in the catalog on your on whatever image you have on your mobile phone. So you could be holding it up against your living room, you're trying to try a bookshelf or a chair, and this gives you a way to kind of envision it. So again, the possibilities are endless. The mobile phone gives you unique potential that maybe a desktop doesn't give you. And certainly, this is different than, this is the next best thing to actually, kind of recreating some of the store experience using the furniture and space that's unique to you. So again, this is one of the examples of the melding of the virtual and real world. Now, I know this ain't a pretty picture. All right, but I put this here for a reason. And I know that there are photography majors in this room. B&H, professional photography store. Anyone has heard of it? The reason why I bring this up as an example of consumer experience is for those of you who've been to New York, if you go to New York and if you're a photography buff, you have to go to B&H. And the reason why it's incredible is, the brand, B&H, it's family run, it's been around for a long time, they give you good prices, they have a big catalog that's enough to kill you if it drops on you. But what's unique about this is the actual store experience. This is about someone needing to go in and out, get what they're looking for, maybe find the expert advice that they're looking for. Their store assistants are all lined up against the counters. They're right there to help you when you need it. They'll help you as much or as little as you need it. And what's fascinating is this conveyor belt system that goes all around the store. What that does is it frees you from having to lug anything, but these conveyor systems kind of go around the store to transport your buys from one department to another. So as you're shopping, you never have to pick up something till the end, where magically that green box shows up and it has all your goodies in it. They never make a mistake. So that's another example of, it may not look very sexy, it's all fluorescent lights, but there's something about that experience that's very, very cool and works. They even have a video online that kind of describes that.